What's up, Scrappy peeps? It's Adele from Inkie Quill, and I'm up with a multiple photo layout today using 5 photos. The size I'm doing is a 9x12, which is what my current album system is, and is what I'm doing into 2018 as well, I think. I'm pretty sure. So I'm just trying to work out how I want to put my photos. I've got 2 4x4 inch photos and then 3... I think they must be 1 inch by 1 inch. No, that's not right. Maybe they're 2 inch by 2 inch, I think. I'm pretty sure they're 2 by 2. And so I decided that I wanted to do a bit of a mixed media background and use some of the beautiful embellishments from the Cocoa Vanilla Bohemian Dream that I had lying in my stash. I'm trying really hard to use up some packets of embellishments, and this one is on my radar this week. So to do the background technique, I'm using my Basil Marshmallow cardstock, which is my favorite cardstock, and it's the one I always use. And I just sprayed some water first on the layout and then sprayed my mist. I use a mixture. I always use either Distress inks, which are the Tim Holtz ones, or the dilution sprays, and they're both water soluble, which means that they react with water. And the technique I'm doing here, which is I'm calling the drippy droppy technique, where you drop water droplets over the mist. It will only work if your mists are water soluble. If they're not, if they're permanent, then it won't do anything. So I've got a little bit of mist in the background, and I do end up covering a lot of it, but the thing that doesn't bother me about that is that by putting some mist on the background, it kind of takes away the blank page and it makes it easier to jump in and start doing the layout. So if you're a little bit nervous to try mixed media, give it a go, and you can always cover it up. You can always cover anything up if you don't like it. It doesn't have to stay there. So I've decided to put these photos in a bit of a wonky grid. That's the technical term I'm going to give it. And I don't back any of them. I don't put any backing paper on these at all. I decided for this layout, I really wanted the focus to be on the embellishments, which you'll see in a moment. I do use a lot of them up. So I'm sticking down my photos, and I've got that doily there because I felt like the purple, well, it's actually a blue, it's actually periwinkle blue, and it did end up a little very blue, if you know what I mean. It was a little too purpley, so I wanted to tone it down, and doilies are a great way of toning down the background a little bit if you've gone a bit too wild with the mists, as I have. I'm adding some double-sided tape. I get my double-sided tape just from Spotlight. It's their cheap generic brand one, and it works well for me. I haven't had any problems with it yet, and I like to use a lot because as we live in rental properties, this is the first house that hasn't had a mold and damp issue. Our last house had quite a severe mold and damp issue, and I found with older albums where I'd only used 1 or 2 pieces of tape, the photos and the elements in the background are actually falling off. It's the same tape, but because of the dampness, the paper's just not holding things together anymore. So I do like to use a lot of tape, and I'm okay with that. So I'm using my Staedtler pigment liner in 0.1 just to do a few little doodles around some of the photos. I've been really enjoying doing that lately. It's an alternative to matting the photos with paper. It gives a similar look, but you don't need the paper. So that gold flower there is actually from a ephemera pack that I got from the Reject shop here in Australia, which sells, it's a cheap shop. It's like what I imagine your dollar shops or Tuesday Morning or other Dollarama I've heard about, or Poundland over there in the UK. I imagine it's the same kind of thing, and it's beautiful. It's gold foil and just delicious. So of course these are photos of my little boy Archie, and I'm using pink flowers, and I'm okay with that. I'm making this layout and I like flowers, so whatever works for you works. I think that sometimes, especially people who are new to scrapbooking, feel that sometimes there's rules or there's ways that you're meant to do things. There's no rules. You can do whatever you want. You can do a layout all about, all about your favorite cup You could do a layout all about your favorite cup, and you could use zebras on it. It doesn't matter what you do as long as it makes you happy, and flowers make me happy, so that's what I'm using today. I do realize that was a very random thing that I just came out with. The reason why I came out with it is because I'm looking at a cup on my shelf, and over there's a bit of zebra print, and that's how I put two and two together. Oh dear, the voiceovers these days, peeps. This is my 5th voiceover today. I'm getting them all done, and it's my last one for the day, and it's at that point where we're talking about cups and zebras. So here, the light was very bright here. I'm sorry, it's going to readjust in a moment. I'm just adding a couple more little embellishments here from the Bohemian Dream pack, and I decided to put this one up on a bit of craft foam. Whenever I do a really big cluster of a lot of embellishments, I do like to raise some of them up, because I feel otherwise everything just looks like it's one piece. And by raising things up, you do kind of differentiate that there's different pieces in your cluster. Next up, I've got this old crepe paper sticker sheet, which I'm determined to use up. I think it's from the Gather collection, I do believe, possibly. And I'm trying really hard to use up some of my stash. I haven't bought any. I lie. That's a big lie. 3 days ago, I bought the new American Crafts Maggie Holmes sticker book, but I haven't done a big order of embellishments things for quite a while, so I'm really trying to use up my stash. I decided to do a little sprinkling of hearts up and down diagonal across my layout. I really enjoy doing that, and I love little sprinkly bits. If I'm ever lucky enough to have my own products one day, which a girl can dream really, really hard, I will have little sprinkles, because they just sum up how I scrapbook, little tiny bits and pieces. So I'm adding some of those little hearts. I get a lot of questions where I get them from. I just typed it in on eBay and found them. I don't know the seller, sorry, but just see what you can find on eBay. There's lots of good things hiding on there. Grabbing some wood veneer. I've got this little container of wood veneer that I keep on the top of my Rascog, and it's really handy if I just want a little piece but I don't want to look through my big container. I can't actually remember the last time I looked through my big container of wood veneer. I should probably look through it more often. There's probably a lot of hidden gems that I could be using in there, like cups and zebras. Oh, there's my big red head. Oh, look, let's focus on my head. All right, I cut it there and cut out my big head to save you staring at that for the next minute. I am adding these tiny hearts. They're old ones from Studio Calico. They may have actually been one of the first scrappy supplies that I ever bought, and I love them. I think I have one spare packet left, but I don't think you can get them anywhere anymore, which I'm terribly sad about. I need to find where I can get them from. So now it's time for my title. I have these beautiful, I was hoping to use one of those words on that swirly scripty font kind of thickers page, but then I found these thickers in my stash that the blue ones are from a previous Citrus Twist kit, Pocket Life kit, and I decide to use them up. It's time to get them used, because there's nothing that drives me more crazy in my supplies than half-used packets of thickers. They frustrate me so much. I actually filmed 2 videos a couple of years ago on using up leftover thickers. So if you're having trouble with yours and you need some ideas, just type in Inkie Quill thickers into the YouTube search and they'll come up. I'm hoping to try and get this pack used as soon as possible, and then I'll just put the leftovers with my art journaling supplies. So I decided to call this one Our Happy Boy, and I just love how the blue, it doesn't completely match his onesie, but it coordinates so well with it. By the way, that onesie is actually some of my Inkie Quill merch, which I designed. It says, "Some bunny is ready to get scrappy," and it has a little picture of a bunny, and it's over on my inkiequill.com shop. If you've got a little one that you think might be a future scrapaholic in the making. So I'm just adding a few little sprinkles here. Back to the giant head. Goodness, Adele, get your head out of the way. Goodness. And just adding some teeny tiny little gold hearts. I've been using this Fisker's heart hand punch at the moment. It looks like a one hole punch. It's that kind of style, and it makes really sweet little hearts. So now I'm adding a few little hand-drawn ones, because if you don't have many sprinkly little bits in your collection, you can always just draw them. It does the same thing. You could use brush pens or textures or coloured pencils, whatever you like, to give the effect of little sprinkly hearts. I'm adding in some journaling, and these photos are some of my favourite ones of Archie. He just looks so adorable. They sum up his moods at this point so well. Shake, 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 shake your heart shine, shake your heart shine. Oh, went wild with my shaking them. I'm adding a little bit of gold hearty shine, as I usually do. I think I can probably... There's not many layouts. Actually, I lie. Whenever I don't use gold hearty shine on a layout, someone always finds it and puts it in the comments. And so I have done quite a few recently, I think, that don't have the gold hearty shine in there. It's shocking, I know. So I've got my jazz hands. I'm all ready. I'm done. And I just love how pretty this layout is. It's a really fun, happy, pretty layout. Easy to scrap lift as well if you've got a few photos that you want on the same page. And here's a little look of the close-up. God, he's grown up so much. He really has. This was back in the day when I could take a photo of him happily lying on his back. He now, as soon as you put him on his back, he runs. Not literally runs, but he crawls away very, very fast. I did actually feel like it needed a little extra something, so I'm grabbing my roller stamp and I'm looking for a little phrase that could work. It just kind of needed some other text, because you've only got the text of the title and the text of the journaling, and it just needed something like typewriter font or block font, just to contrast with those that are already up there. So I decided to do a few little bits of stamping down here, and I love the look of ghost stamping. If you like things not messy, ghost stamping is not for you. But it's a fun little technique to when you want to add something to your page. All right, guys, I'm out, and I hope you have a lovely week. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.